All right, we are recording. All right, on
Uh,
the topic of project management, I would be happy to volunteer for taking care of that task. I do have experience in that, and I do have successful experience. Um, Anybody else was looking to take over that, that's fine, but I figured since I'm jumping in late in the game and everybody else has really took on a lot, I'd be happy to jump in and make sure this project is going where it needs to go.
my only other thought with that was that it should be Kasim just because he has so far been doing it. However, I know that he has some pretty good skill sets that I would like to be used more so elsewhere.
Yeah, in the grand scheme of things, I have been a manager for like the last 4 years, so I do have some management experience, but nothing related to programming stuff like this. The main reason that I've been uh, like setting up all the various announcements and just getting everything set up is because I'm a big believer in communication, and I wanted to get that uh, more or less, cemented
Oh
in
yeah,
early
absolutely,
on.
for sure.
So as far as project management, because Diana does have like actual real world experience, I have no problem whatsoever letting her take the lead. And like you said, Mark, that would give me a lot more time to focus on like the actual programming of it. So my vote personally goes to Diana.
So I'm currently working in my internship where we both have project managers and program managers. Usually the program manager responds to the project manager and relays back information. But in a sense, because we're a smaller team, it'd be easier for us to communicate. But I have no problem making Diana the project manager and Kasim the program manager, if that makes sense.
Okay. Yeah, I could see that.
That works. I just want to be clear, I'm not here to take over the project. By no means am I here to do that. My goal was to make sure everybody's organized and the pieces of the puzzles are completed in the order they need to be so that we could proceed and we're not held up by certain parts. That's all, just an organizational standpoint. But yeah, Kasim, this is your ship.
No,
It's our
it's all
ship
good.
now.
Yeah, we're a team.
All right, why don't we dive into things then? And we start off with Joshua, you were working towards the UI design, that's correct?
Yes.
How is that coming along? Because we do have the deadline for the 24th.
Yeah. So I did a couple research, looked up some kind of things to look forward to. I saw this article, someone talking about like what goes into designing a POS, and then after reading a couple of those, I started looking into some of the more popular POS vendors, and just did some research, look at them, see how they do their whole thing, how they kind of separate things into little packages, and just kind of seeing, um, trying to give me an idea of where I can start and start creating like a proof of concept.
Okay. I'm just looking at the requirements for it, and you're looking you said you were looking for a proof of concept. Are you making kind of like PowerPoint presentation of it, or are you utilizing I don't want to say paint, but paint to make like a tentative like outline of where things are going to go and where the designs are going to flow?
Yeah, I was thinking of getting some, I guess, in the same way you described it, like a not so paint. I mean, I'm using Illustrator, but yeah,
Sorry,
having
like paint was
no,
the
no,
first
yeah,
like to
I
mind.
really know. I don't really know how else to call it either. Like an image, maybe just making some kind of draft up some images of what, like, the checkout interface
Conceptual
is going to
ideas.
be. Yeah, exactly. Kind of keep things a little bit more big picture for now.
Storyboarding almost, just where
Yep,
things
it's
are
a
going.
storyboard.
Yep, basically. Yep. And so then I feel like if we can get something like that down, then it might provide Kasim and Mark and anybody else who dives deeper into the more technical stuff a little bit more clarity, so they can kind of refer to that storyboard, quote unquote, and be like, oh, okay, you know, might make their smaller objectives a little bit more clear when they have something to work off of.
Yeah, because right now I've been messing around more with Electron and trying to get like some of the simpler functions going. So like reading that JSON file where I have all the menu items listed and actually bringing them into the website. So far I can do it just by adding random elements wherever. But of course it'd be much easier if I had like a design because I do need to know where to actually put them in the end.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely gonna be doing that. Gonna be getting started on that soon.
All right.
So I can hit you guys up with it. And you guys said the first major deadline is the 24th, correct?
The mock-up, in a sense, has to be submitted by the 24th, and we either need to hold or at least schedule our meeting with the professor via Skype by then.
Okay.
Can draft up like a super simple proof of concept image of like the networking aspect of how we're gonna, you know, put everything together.
I mean, he says they're looking at the assignment right now, and there's no firm page or word requirement, but he expects each group's document would be no shorter than 10 pages.
Yeah,
Okay, so we could also
like I say,
guide.
just for something to give,
Right,
me
yeah.
to like have a guidelines towards the future.
Do we know what sort of POS system this is going to be?
Yes, that was a question I wanted to ask as well. So I can kind of have a better idea of kind of where to go into this. Because there's so many different kinds of POS for like
I
I
think
know
you guys mentioned last time in the fast food area.
Right. That's primarily where I was going. From the requirements, from the actual suggested topics that he posted, he had said that the POS system that he was looking for was a restaurant-based one. So I was thinking we do a fast food restaurant since that I feel like that would be a little, not necessarily simpler, but like it's more cut and dry because there's only so many things in a fast food restaurant, whereas like a five-star restaurant you might have like 40, 50 different items.
Right, we're not really making a POS system, I would assume, for the Cheesecake Factory or something that has an astronomically huge menu. So I'm okay with doing fast food.
It could even be like a coffee shop because they don't really have very many options. Just like a few select food items, some coffees.
that could work as well. I'm not opposed to a coffee shop either.
Yeah, the way that I've been structuring this menu file, it can be easily adjusted with just about any kind of food, as well as adjusted for various sizes, various prices. So, what the actual POS system is going to be for is, I don't want to say it's not important, but like the way that I've had this laid out so far, it's very adaptable. So we can
Yeah.
change it between it.
So let's just say it's going to be restaurant.
So I work at a Panera Bread, and so the way ours is set up is we have self-service kiosks. They're on iPads out in the front. Customers can walk in and place here to go orders there. There's also the cashiers that have their worker facing kiosks or POS registers in which you can pay with cash and do stuff from there. And so you send the order through either here to go, and then it shows up to the worker facing terminals behind the line, and there's a sandwich side and a salad side. And so the sandwich person makes sandwiches and vice versa.
Yeah, that's a good one to think about is how the food orders will get delivered. Is there a drink section, a fries section, a burger section, a coffee section?
Right. Right. That's
Oh, your mic cut out for me.
Yeah.
Yep, I lost.
Customer facing kiosk where they type in what they want, let's say a hamburger, large drink, and a side of fries. That information gets sent to a like a central distribution center server, and then that server would send it out to the sandwich terminal, we'll call it the sides and desserts terminal, and then the drinks terminal. And on each one of those, you can tick off when that part of the order is done. And every time you take it off, it sends it to another customer facing kiosk that tells the customer where the order is, how far along is it, and if it's done yet.
Okay, so we're looking at two different customer facing kiosks, one to place order and one to pick up order, and then 2 or 3 to 5 kiosks, or sorry, kiosk servers on the employee side that is almost like the building station for the food.
Right. And
Okay.
sorry to cut you off, but as far as the worker kiosks are concerned, they would be essentially identical between them. They would just have different items listed because one would only have sandwiches, one only sides and desserts, and one drinks. But as far as the UI and the way they function, they would be exactly the same.
Right. Okay.
If you like, I can show you like next time I go to work, I can take a bunch of pictures of the way ours works. If you would like to loosely follow that, because it's exactly how you're describing.
Yeah, sure.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah,
send
that
those
would be
pics over
awesome.
whenever you get a chance. I was as you guys were talking about the Panera example, I was thinking back to my old job at Smashburger, where they, just like how you were describing it, Kasim, they had like a terminal just for the burger guys. So then the only thing that would pop up on that terminal was like what's going on the patty specifically, and so that's all they really had to worry about, and it kind of kept everything really simple. So I was
Hmm.
just thinking of incorporating ideas like that.
Perfect.
Yeah, and if there are like any modifications to the burger or whatever, like no lettuce, it would appear there.
No,
I don't know
yeah,
if
yeah,
we
it
want to
would.
go that far into detail, but it would be nice.
You mean insofar a customer places an order, let's say they want a cheeseburger, they want onions and ketchup, but they don't want anything else, and that information gets relayed to the burger station, correct? Is that what you're saying with the list of ingredients that the customer wants?
Yeah,
No,
but
yeah,
that just
like
increases the amount of buttons that we're gonna have to add.
Yeah, doable though.
Yeah,
Doable
just
and
sort of a side thought.
mhm. I mean, I'm sure that's something the professor will expect because everybody has their own ways of how they like to order their food.
oh yeah, yeah. We gotta add some kind of granularity to let kind of the customers, I guess, customize what they want.
Hmm. Yeah. Disney uses these ordering kiosks at some of their restaurants. And they don't get too far into detail. And they do have an option. You can push a button and work with a human if you need to.
And that's actually a nice feature. I'm gonna see if I can kind of add that to the UI.
Oh yeah, page for help.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
Yep. Accessibility. That'll be a big one to think about. Make sure colors and fonts are accessibility friendly. Don't use a lot of red and green.
All right, we'll do.
Very true.
I'm also thinking, just as a tentative accessibility, what about potentially changing the writing to a different language? Or keeping
B-
it
Maybe
too
have
broad?
like a, if so, I feel like that could be like one of those tasks we set out to do. Like if we have extra time, and like I could see like adding like a Spanish menu would be good. Would be grateful, really great in terms of accessibility.
Yeah, I agree that we should wait on that one. I do feel like it is possible though, because that's just a matter of setting like multiple language files and then swapping between them. But it
Okay.
would be a little tedious to go back and rename everything because once we set up the menu, I would have to go back, translate a lot of that, put it into a new file. So I think it can be done before the project is, due. But I think we should save that one for a little later.
Okay.
Anybody here fluent in Spanish?
Not fluent. I'm in my second year actually for my. This is one of the last classes I have to take, is Spanish too.
Gotcha.
So I have to take it this semester.
I was pretty close. I forgot a lot of it, but I know enough that I could muddle through it and I could probably have a translation done pretty quickly.
My stepmom is fluent in French, and
Ooh.
she's almost fluent in Spanish. So I could potentially ask her, just kind of give her a list of items and ask her to translate if
There we
we
go.
have enough time for that.
To be sure, we're all writing some of these ideas down, right?
I am, yes.
Okay.
And I'm glad we're recording because I'm going to probably have to go back and, okay, what did I miss?
Right, exactly. Me too.
Page person. You
One
know,
thing I was. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
oh no, go ahead, go ahead.
All right. One thing I was looking into, that caught my attention. I wanted to ask you guys what you guys, if you guys have any ideas regarding this, is because we're gonna we're making a POS system, and these POS systems are gonna be for a potential fast food restaurant, and these restaurants are companies, and companies have policies, and so like, I don't know, just like things like how we would like incorporate like a return policy and like other things like that, like canceling like maybe a food item and stuff like that.
That is a very good point. Is there kind of like a U.S. regulated food policy, like a generic national policy, or is it up to each individual restaurant?
I think that falls under customer satisfaction. If you're canceling an order,
So
it's
we could
like,
have like a manager menu that would require like, a password or something, and the managers could modify orders.
either that or maybe a customer should be able to cancel an order until it gets to a certain point in the queue. And at that point, they would need to request manager assistance because the food could already be in progress of crafting. But if the customer puts in an order and they're like third in line, they should be able to cancel. And if there's a kiosk or a terminal that displays where the orders are, a customer should be able to see, okay, my order is still over here. I have time to cancel my extra large fry. Okay, I'm going to cancel that. But then that builds an additional complexity. If customers are going through a line and they're waiting for a terminal to open, terminal's open, they place their order, are they going to have to wait in line again to cancel? And I think really when it comes to these automated restaurants or semi-automated, I think once you place your order, you're pretty well committed because it's not like they're going to pass out an iPad at the door.
No, yeah, it's probably going through all the other terminals and whatnot already.
Isn't it as soon as you pay, you are committed, and then if you get your food at that point, you would process the refund? I'm a little foggy on how the fast food service industry works in returns to that.
I mean, that's the kind of the shitty part about the fast food industry is like, if I really wanted to, I could like get a perfectly good Big Mac, and then if I complain enough, I'll get my money back, which is what kind of sucks about those policies.
Yeah, we have people that like eat half their food and say, "Oh, I didn't like this. Can I have it remade?"
Oh God.
Yep.
No,
So
I
sorry.
can complain all day about fast food service.
Well,
Mhm.
look at what social
Um,
media has done. Customer could be completely in the wrong, but if they put up a big enough fuss on social media, it's going to cost the company even more.
For sure.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I had a question. Are we going to be like putting this POS system on like a virtual machine? Is that how we're going to, have it like usable? Like for the purpose of this project?
Okay,
That
We can use a couple different virtual machines for like the different terminals.
I was wondering that as well.
See, I'm a little foggy personally on how virtual machine or how we would get the virtual machines working. I know I've used like Amazon AWS and I've used some of Google's cloud services, but I don't remember if I've ever learned how to get them networked, on the same network, because that's effectively what we would need if we were to start connecting the machines via like the internet. I feel like that would cause problems. It's doable, of course, but that's probably going to get ridiculously complex. So I'm not 100% sure how to get them networked to one another. So if any of you guys know, that'd
Yes.
be great.
Yeah.
Yeah. We had a class where we had to network virtuals together. I think it was the pen test class.
One of the like cybersecurity courses. I think I've done it multiple times. Did you guys use VMware?
I've used VMware
Yeah.
and I have VirtualBox. But
Yeah.
I don't feel comfortable like doing it on my own, so I would have to ask you guys for help for
I
that.
think between all of us, we could, potentially figure that out. I think that's like the best way that we'll be able to show our project off in the end.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, I agree with that. And yeah, as far as the VMs go, that I can set that up or can help you guys get it going either way. That's not as difficult as it sounds once you've gotten it going. There's the caveat there.
No, yeah, I definitely think VMs would be a great idea for us for this whole POS system. I've done I've like networked like mimicked enterprise networks on VMs and stuff, and then with the Electron packages that you're trying to go and use, Kasim, I think with the portability, how you can like package them on any platform, I think we can like spin up like a few Linux boxes. They'll have like so that if we need to, we can kind of run a proof of concept on just like someone's laptop because the Linux boxes will be so easy to run, which each one having like its own package. And I think it should be fairly simple. I think we can do something like that. That'd be a good idea.
All right.
Go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say, when we create the software for each of these separate terminals, did you want to like package it all into one and then say at the very start when you're booting up the software, okay, this is going to be burger line 1 and this is going to be sides line 1, or this is going to be cashier POS, and then you can just click on one of those and it'll bring you right to whichever part it is.
Yeah, that's how I was thinking of. Program the kiosk, the customer facing kiosk, the order pickup kiosk, and all the terminals as one package, and then add in a config file where we basically hard code what type of, or I guess we wouldn't be able to hard code it for the demo. Since we're using virtual machines, we could actually hard code it and say, on boot, this is the type of terminal it will be. That way, because in like an actual production scenario, you wouldn't be able to choose. The customer service kiosk is always going to be the customer facing kiosk.
Okay, that's just one logistical question that I had.
Okay, that brings up another question. What are the plans for presenting this project?
I was just about to ask that. Do we know if we have to present it in person or if it can be done like via video?
I believe everything
think
can be
either.
done in video.
Either?
Yeah, either for sure.
All right. If we can do video, that I feel like that would be easier. If we have to do it in person, we could do it a couple different ways. We could probably bring like set of laptops and get them networked together and just run the Electron package, or I don't know if you guys have heard of the Raspberry Pi, but I have like 8 of them just sitting around, so I'd be able to load it up on there, and then we just need a set of monitors, whichever is easier.
If it's VMs, we really only need one computer.
Yeah, just one computer with enough RAM to take
Oh,
care
so
of
just
it.
switch between them?
Yeah.
Big
Okay, that
enough
works too.
monitor or good and sufficient resolution, you could have 5 or 6 VMs. And I mean, if it's a in-person presentation, I'm sure somewhere on campus is a room with a projection screen or a smart board or something, some way we can connect a computer and have the nice big display and not stare at a little tiny laptop.
Mm-hmm.
That's an option. Or if it's video presentation, certainly doable with laptop, desktop, whatever.
All right.
But that way we don't have to introduce unnecessary complexity.
Mm-hmm.
But if we decide to do the in-person interview, because I know the professor was talking about it's harder for him to do. He needs more time management, date to be set out definitively early on for him to do in person. But also, I would not be able to attend a couple of states away. So we would have to have the tech set up for the VMware, but also I would like maybe an iPad set up so I could Skype in.
Well, if you're a couple states away, then I think we should try to do this
Video.
remotely, make a video presentation.
Right,
Mhm.
but I guess I said in some other posts, like if it's easier for you guys to meet in person, please don't hold back on my account.
Well, I'm not 2 states away, but I'm on the other side of the state, so.
Yeah, I'm about an hour from Tampa myself.
Am I the only one in Tampa?
I'm up in Wesley Chapel, so I'm not too far away.
Okay.
All right, so tentative video presentation. And then we can decide exactly how we want to do that as the project goes on. But I think video would probably be the easiest, especially as was mentioned with the professor's schedule. But yeah, we should be able to just utilize one computer for it, or with the video, we can have a terminal on each of our computers. But again, that might introduce further complexities.
I feel
But
that
if we're
part
all
of the I feel that part of the complication of the assignment and like the idea to show like, that we got it working is that we can network it together. And so really it doesn't matter in which way, how we network it together. I think having virtual machines all networked together properly would show off the best that we were able to do it.
Oh yeah,
Mhm.
it'll be really clean. You can get some subnetting going with the VirtualBox. I haven't done too much on VMware side, but VirtualBox is actually pretty simple once you start getting into it.
Yeah, it's not bad at all, and it works very well.
It does.
I just
yes.
downloaded that one for a class, but I've been using the VMware for like 2 semesters.
Yeah, I've used VirtualBox for more for like personal stuff, like running the latest version of Ubuntu or trying to get Mac OS VM going, stuff like that. I've never like actually tried to subnet them together and try to have something functional.
It's a great feeling when you get everything working. When you can start
Mhm.
communicating, start pinging.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Best feeling in the semester.
All right, I think we need to try and draw out some of our ideas. So, it's great to talk all this through, but there's a lot to be said for visualizing the concept. If anybody would like to draw while we talk out, how we want this POS system to vaguely look like, by all means. I mean, if not, I do have a tablet that I can use to draw and then I could share my screen.
I'm
You know,
good.
just at least circles and lines. We could see what's going on. What were you saying?
Oh no, I'm just saying like I got pen and paper out, ready for any ideas.
So for the worker-facing POS, I think like an itemized cart would be good. With like a price for each item that like compounds like dynamically as you push an item in, then it says okay 455, and then push another item in, it adds itself immediately to 8.99.
Mm-hmm.
Would we want that? Did you say that on the worker side or on the customer side?
Customer side.
Well, probably both.
And
So,
well,
okay, what's
which
my total so
worker?
far? Yeah, the one
It needs to
taking
go to the
orders.
cashier. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, We could also implement it on the customer facing kiosk. So like as soon as the customer is done filling out their order, before they submit it to the workers, they have to pay, pay ahead of it.
I think that'd be a great idea to like cause a lot less confusion.
Yeah.
Yeah, because otherwise, we probably have to send it to, let's see, if it was to go to the central server, it would then have to go to all the various terminals, or it would have to go to the cashier first, have the customer walk to the cashier, pay for their stuff, then it would be sent over to the worker terminals, which again would
Yeah.
add another layer of complexity. So we would either need to pay ahead or pay after everything is already done when they go to pick up their order.
And I think that it would have to be like you put all the items in and then pay, and then at that moment is when the worker side
Yeah,
terminals get the information.
I think it would play to the whole idea of a commitment we talked earlier, where like I think it might influence the customers to be a little bit more careful when ordering, because they know they're going to pay right away.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but the customer should see a running total as they go. So
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
if I add a burger, it's $2. Then I add fries. Now the total's $3 because the fries are $1. And if I want to add 20 Cokes, well, that's a fair amount of change. So okay, I'll take out 19 of them,
Exactly.
and
They
that
got a
way.
$25 gift card and they're trying to get every $25 out of it.
Yeah, but yeah, that way they can see what they're expecting in terms of money, and they can also see the quantity, and it updates dynamically. Like let's say there's increase quantity button, decrease quantity button, and it goes up. I push increase quantity. Okay, I'm up to 3, now I'm up to 4, and I'm up to 5 sodas. Or wait, nope, that's too many. Drop it down. Something interactive that also gives them the feedback of how much are they ordering and how much is this going to cost before they place the order. And then do you want to program an option to where they can pay by credit card right there and bypass the cashier?
Yeah, that definitely sounds like something that's possible. So they would have the shopping cart, on the right-hand side with all the various items listed, and then a big red checkout button. As soon as they hit that, they would be taken to the payment options, at which point they can select either pay at counter so that they're able to pay in cash if they'd like to, or, pay by card, Apple Pay, whatever, right there at the kiosk.
Cool.
On said kiosk, I don't know if we mentioned already, we should implement, if you haven't already said so, a cart. They can remove and add items in their cart before they, pay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that would be very easy to
final
do.
review order.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Final order review. Final order review.
And then as far as the worker-facing terminals, how did you want the orders to come through on those screens? Say like order 1, order 2, order 3 with like a running time, or
I think the best way is to just kind of use some kind of unique identifier system for the orders and just have them have that unique identifier kind of
Order number.
like yeah, an order number. I think just keep it simple. It's gonna appear on the receipt. It's gonna appear on their confirmation page. It'll appear on pretty much everywhere. So everybody kind of has an idea of order 267 is going to be my order.
Mm-hmm.
How did we?
At the final terminal or at the pickup station, there's usually someone who kind of packages everything together.
Yes. Like a worker that. Oh yeah, that's right. So, burgers and sides and desserts all make their stuff, right? Now we probably need one more screen for the consolidator to package everything into their correct order with like their napkins and stuff like that.
Oh, I gotcha.
Okay, so how many screens are we up to now?
4 terminals, I think. Sides
4
and desserts, drinks, burgers, and then consolidator.
So it'd be 4 terminals for the workers, 1 terminal for the ordering on customer side, and then another terminal for pickup.
And then the worker terminal for placing the orders.
Okay. So that'd be 5 worker terminals and 2 customer terminals.
Yeah. Some additional functionality that might be nice but not necessary is adding like a customer name to the order.
Yeah,
That'd be
that could
nice.
work. So it could be like order 267 for Kathy.
Yeah. Kathy, your order is ready.
Mm-hmm.
My manager's name is Kathy.
Yeah, again, that one there. As soon as they hit the checkout button and pay, or I guess when they hit the checkout button, they can key in their name and then pay for their order. That would also be very easy to implement.
Yeah.
It reduces confusion. Is that my drink?
Yeah, exactly.
So I have customer. 1 second, I will be right back.
All right.
No problem.
Okay, so for this first little kind of proof of concept, like just kind of I guess a prototype, just kind of showing stuff in terms of regards to these images, like the storyboard of this POS system. Since I think it seems like we're just gonna keep it like a restaurant, fast food place. Kasim, if you just like, if I don't know if you said you've been playing around, so like if you've already created some kind of menu, if you could like just send that menu over so I can kind of get that implemented in these images.
Yeah. Let me.
If you haven't, then I don't mind just making up a menu myself, but yeah.
Let's see what the best way to send it to you is, because right now I have it in like a structured JSON format.
I mean, you could send it to me like that. I can read it, but
Okay.
yeah, doesn't matter. I'll read that.
Also, what happens on the terminal, the worker-facing terminals when an order is completed? How do they, remove the order?
Probably, I think the way I've seen in a bunch of places is usually just like when you make the order once it's complete, is like some kind of confirmation button that removes that order from the list, and then that maybe once that order is removed from the list, it'll then ping the people
Okay.
at the confirmation terminal to say, oh hey, their order's ready, and they can call for the name or whatever.
So on each like little order, say there it was like the 3rd order in and it was just like a drink, they could just press like number 3 and then it would remove it.
Yeah, or I've seen people just use like the arrows, go up and
Yeah.
down and just have whatever is highlighted and then
Okay. It's like some additional functionality that might be kind of tricky.
It'd be easier to do. I'm thinking like maybe an extra button somewhere that says, okay, you go to this terminal, and then there's a button that says pass order along or order complete. Or does that cause too much confusion?
Because that's the thing is like, say you have, 6 spaces for orders on the one, burger terminal. When you remove the first, like you make the first sandwich, then the other 5 have to like, move forward one in like a queue, basically.
yeah. I don't know how that's implemented, but I've seen it like plenty of times in like
Yeah.
restaurants and stuff.
So on the programming side of each of those, it'd be kind of like, tricky in my opinion. I don't know how to figure that out. I mean, we could figure it out, but
Could you run that by me again? Like, let's say I submit an order for a hamburger, large fries, and a drink, and it gets sent to the worker terminals. What happens? Uh, what happens after the order hits each of the terminals?
so the workers make their food, and then upon completion of their individual tasks, how do they remove it from their screen? Do they just say, oh, hamburger up, and then maybe the consolidator has a button that he presses and it removes it from their individual screens?
Oh, I gotcha.
Or do they each like say, press a button to remove the hamburger, and then the side person removes a button to remove the large fry?
That was my initial idea, where each of the terminals would have what needs to be made for which order, and then once it's made, they just click done, and then they move on to the next item of the next order.
Mm-hmm.
But I suppose if
But
one person's well ahead, well, I guess it would be the consolidator's job to take all of those and, put them in the correct order, right?
yeah,
Another thing I was thinking, would there be a dine in or a dine out option?
well,
Oh
I
yeah,
mean that's just a button that we could add to the thing.
Yeah.
could be like the first prompt that a customer sees when they approach a kiosk. Be like, hey, you want to dine in or take out? Just real quick little.
Yep, definitely possible.
And then I guess maybe that could take it to the different, like, I guess if it's dine in, it'll I guess we'll go. I guess they're all gonna go through the same kind of path, but maybe the takeout ones will go to the kind of takeout station where the person kind of preps it and bags it, and if it's dine in, it won't necessarily have to go there.
The way my restaurant works is the consolidator makes the to-go orders and plates up the food if it's for here.
Okay, then that
Everything's done in
that
one
can work that
terminal.
way.
And on the menu it'll say, like on his consolidator screen, it will say like, oh, this order's for here, and then you package it accordingly. Same with the like a sandwich. The sandwich says, it'll say here to go, and so they know to either wrap it to go or put it on a plate for here.
How do we program it for this project, though? I mean, a consolidator is a human role. It's not necessarily a kiosk. Or do
Yeah,
we
but
want to just program it as a message that, like, your to-go order is ready or your dine-in order is ready?
no, I'm seeing it more of as just like the consolidator is a working like person, but he has his own screen that he sees like a worker facing terminal, in which he sees all of the orders like in their entirety so that he can package them together.
Trying to visualize how that would. So then all the different orders, like burger, fry, drink, dessert, all of those would consolidate into what you said, the consolidator, and then would go out to the customer. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I'm just basing it off of like how our system works.
Okay.
And I can like I said, get a bunch of pictures of our work.
Careful doing that, because I don't know if you will violate anything doing that.
Yeah, that should be okay. I honestly told my manager, I was like, listen, if you catch me with like a USB drive trying to download our POS system, just look the other way.
It's funny.
Didn't happen, Dan.
So I'm thinking. So one question I wanted to ask. I believe it's. I believe it's. I'm not sure who exactly is doing the actual programming of the UI. I believe it's you, Jackie, right? Yeah. So then I guess a question to you is so if we're gonna use this electron packaging system, I was just playing with it a little earlier before the this meeting, and so it works primarily with JavaScript as like the base, and then it uses like HTML pages and CSS docs to kind of pretty everything up, like to make these packages UI friendly and whatnot. Um, are you familiar with that? Like I know like everybody has like their own conventions for like making I guess web pages, and in regards like to UI, I know that like probably like a grid system would probably be easier because I know a lot of people like to build websites as like grid systems. I don't know what your preference is.
So I do enjoy HTML and CSS. JavaScript, I would have to brush up on that and probably spend about a day just relearning kind of the basics a little bit and then just practicing. Um, I am open to suggestion. When I make a website, I just kind of start what you're kind of doing with the design, and then I do top to bottom, like make a frame and then go into the frame and then start kind of working to use it in a grid system and working over here and working over there.
Okay, because I don't want to make things any more complicated than they have to be. I feel
Right.
like if we just keep it simple, I feel like that's the key to this success to this project.
I feel like if we keep it simple and then if we have that buffer time towards the end to go back and give it a little bit of a facelift, we can do it. But I think as kind of like an end goal, we want to at least have something functional, working, is not difficult to use. I think would be our three goals. But yeah. So like I said, if we leave enough buffer time, we can go back and add, make it nicer and more user friendly and more accessible.
Right, and I will say, as far as the JavaScript, feel free to reach out to me because I've actually spent the last year just trying to really brush up on JavaScript and getting my hands dirty with it as much as possible. So, um, and come to think of it, for the actual UI programming of it, you probably won't need much of it at all. It's really just going to fall on me to take the wireframe, take the HTML that you come up with, and then incorporate my various elements. Like I was talking about, adding items to the shopping cart and submitting the order.
Wonderful, definitely. I'll definitely, if we have some time and coming up soon, we can probably get together and start brainstorming and working on, fleshing out JavaScript a little much. So thank you.
Yeah, and I'm gonna share my screen real quick. This is sort of just the very a very rudimentary design I've just been sort of working with here. So obviously this would change depending on what Joshua comes up with, and I'm open to that. This is just what I've been working on to give myself something to work with. So I have like the various I guess categories. So sandwiches, sides, desserts, and drinks. And then off to the right hand side, we have the shopping cart. And in this section here, we'd list off all the individual items with, I guess, quantity counters so that you can adjust them, up or down, and maybe a remove button off to the side of each item. And then at the bottom, we'd have a checkout button so that they can actually submit the order.
No, yeah,
So
it's actually kind of funny. As we were talking about the UIs and stuff, I was kind of doodling some kind of rudimentary UIs, and mine actually looks quite similar to yours. So hey, I think we already found a kind of a base skeleton for what we want the customer facing one to look like.
hey, great minds think alike.
Absolutely.
Deanna, I know you said earlier, wow, it's almost been an hour. Earlier, you are very familiar with computer or human computer interface. Do you have any? I know you bookmarked a lot of things. Do you have any bookmarks about just basic website design that's related to POS systems?
Oh yeah, that site has a bunch. The one that I shared earlier.
The Baymars?
Yes, they have a lot. Let's see.
We could probably put these various websites in like a resources discussion so that we would have like easy access to it going forward and so that we wouldn't forget it.
Yeah, maybe if someone finds an interesting article, like Diana did here, we could just like put it in that kind of that maybe some kind of list where we can all
Mhm.
just
Or I can
refer to
start a
that.
discussion post.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I know last time we talked about like pre-made packages. Did anyone find anything of the sort that might be useful moving forward?
I haven't found anything short of the various like basic modules that are included in Node.js, which is what Electron is built off of. But
Okay, yeah.
those are more for like the back end stuff. So like
Yeah.
managing JSON files, stuff like that, not necessarily entire POS systems.
Regarding entire POS systems, there's a vendor that I spent probably the most time looking into is called Square. They seem to be very
Mhm.
popular. It seems like some information there. If you guys haven't looked at it, haven't known of it yet, I guess if you just like look up what Square is as a POS vendor to kind of get an idea of maybe where we want to go with this POS system, see if you guys like anything, any kind of the modules they have there, because they do have like they have different packages for retail stores and restaurants and maybe e-commerce, et cetera, et cetera.
Question is, would we be able to use something like that? Because our assignment here is to make our own POS system. I don't think using a ready-made one from Square would.
Oh no, I'm not saying for us to use it. I'm just saying to like look at it and see if we can kind of pull
Oh,
anything,
okay,
like just use it for inspirational purposes, really.
gotcha.
We would still cite them as a reference,
Right.
but it's good to look at existing kiosks to understand what these interfaces typically look like. And on that note, I think it should be designed as if it were a touch screen. Obviously, they won't be touch screen in practice, but users won't be walking up with a mouse and clicking, clicking, clicking. No,
Right.
it should at
Yeah.
least appear like you walk up and boop, you use your
Same with
finger and you select options.
same with
Mhm.
like the worker-facing terminals. If they need to remove something, there needs to be a button instead of like a mouse. You know,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna take off my gloves and like touch a mouse.
Right.
Nope. Nope. Not at
And
all. And the designs should also appear differently for the customer versus the staff.
Yeah,
Staff
maybe.
screens are usually big, bold colors, so you
Yeah.
look up and immediately there's your information. And the customer screens are pretty fluffy. This reflects our brand.
Yeah. I was
Mhm.
I was thinking of like kind of making the customer facing one, like you said, the polished finished product, and then having kind of a more verbose, no bullshit kind of terminal for the workers, so they can
That's
have as
how
much
ours is.
information as possible.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm looking at Square's website on their POS software. It is almost like the exact thing that you and I were working on, Josh.
Yeah. Hey man, I guess there's a winning formula here.
Yeah.
If it works, it works.
Yeah. And while we were talking here, I did add all of us to a Google Drive folder. I've added the menu file for you, Joshua, and
Okay, cool.
for the assignment that we have due, I think on the 24th, where we actually have to have, what was it, like our statement of what our project is and like how we're going to do it, right?
I believe so. Yeah.
Just look at that again real quick.
So while you're looking for that, I'll just quickly mention as I start getting these images up, as soon as I get something up, I'll put them in the drive. So so to kind of allow you guys some time to check it over and be like, oh hey, if you guys have any ideas or critiques regarding any of this. I know that this is just gonna be the prototype stuff, but even still,
Mhm.
any kind of maybe you guys catch something I didn't catch, and just let me know of it just before we send it off. So
Right.
just gonna
Absolutely.
post it up there as I do them.
Okay. Who said they were drawing this paper pencil?
Oh, I was just kind of making some doodles of the different work faces, interfaces. Sorry.
Okay. All right. My big blue button does not indicate who's talking, so forgive me. I'm still linking names to voices. So who, please?
Josh.
Josh. Thanks, Josh.
Yeah, no problem.
Sorry.
You're good.
What did? Okay.
I'm also gonna post my doodle that I've been working on.
Oh yeah, sure.
Oh, am I actually drawing? That's
That's
Okay.
cool. Ooh.
okay. Cool. How do we get a nice screen? I want a clear screen. How do we? Oh, yeah.
Oop, sorry. There you go.
No, that's good. That's good. Now, how do we draw on this
Uh,
thing?
there you go.
Oh, yeah. All right. Hey, cool. Now let's draw out plans for the kiosk.
So I guess to kind of go off of that, like that.
So this is the customer facing design.
Yeah. So like.
Okay.
So maybe something like that, and then just have your different order listings there.
Okay, I'm assuming those buttons, like if I were to touch entrees, it would bring up a list of entrees. And
Yeah.
I
So
select
then.
from there and then click sides.
Yeah, and then
Select
this big blank space would be occupied by the list of entrees, and then the entrees tab would be like highlighted to let the customer know that they indeed are looking at the entrees list, and then kind of have these as like almost like tabs of a browser window, right?
perfect.
Okay.
And so then I think that could probably lend itself to some simpler HTML programming to kind of mimic the tabs of a browser window.
Mm-hmm. And I just added another file in the drive. That would be like our very simple network map. Not much to it, really.
Ooh, good. I'll take a look at that. I'm just trying to visualize what we were. I don't want to do that. Oh, whatever. Count as one box.
Sorry about that. I got kicked off.
Oh, did you miss anything?
Not really. I think
When did you get kicked off?
like 30 seconds ago.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you're fine.
You guys
Yeah, we're
have
just
been
making
speaking.
some doodles
Yeah.
on the whiteboard here.
Drink.
So then a drink terminal. So then, okay, what kind of drinks are we adding? Because if like like for example, like there's like Shake Stack or whatever the hell the place is
Or
called,
entree.
Shake
Shake
Shack.
Shack.
Yeah, where they have a more of a robust kind of list of shakes and stuff, and then there's like I don't know, maybe a more simpler burger place that doesn't offer any shakes, like Five Guys, where it's just soda, right? So would we really need a drink station if we're just going to incorporate like sodas? Because then they can kind of just self-service themselves.
But Five Guys does have shakes.
Do they?
Wow.
Oh, sorry, I'm not a five. I'm not a huge. But yeah, you know what I mean. Like if there's no
Yeah.
need for someone to make drinks, then we don't really need to have a drink station, I guess. But like if we do want to incorporate, shakes and other kind of specialty beverages, then yeah, of course, I think we do.
Well, I
think we
think
can
Leave it
add
as a
something-
maybe pile.
Yeah. Well, like,
'Cause-
Diana, you just said like we can add it like at the buffer at the end and do something creative, like a nod towards all of us, like having some unique shake named after us.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Yeah.
That'd be fun.
I like that.
I already see a Herbert Sherbert shake.
Yep. yep.
There you go.
The Kasim Supreme.
Hey, look at that.
There you go. Okay, write those down.
Got it. Oh,
Don't
and
have
I'm gonna invite you to the Trello page, Diana.
Thank you.
So-
Yes. I don't know if I've had access to it yet.
There's a link for it.
Cool. All right. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead, make you admin so that you can edit it, and you're good to go.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you're. Well, that's a drunk arrow if I ever saw one.
It's a little tipsy.
This is the
Okay, so customer kiosk, they place their order, boop, it goes over to the cashier, and then from the cashier, it fans out to, oh my goodness, wherever it needs to go. Boy, I am just winning at arrows tonight.
Does it have to go like through the cashier? I mean,
yeah.
I guess so if they have to pay it with cash.
It does not have to. If they are paying with cash, yes, but if not,
Then it'll like
we got a little bypass
yeah.
thing.
So then I'm assuming at the end there's like some kind of consolidation box at the very end.
Yeah, and so it just has like the
Oops,
main
sorry.
order, like what's over here
Finally, the
be-
undo.
can be on this screen over here. Oh man.
Yeah, you use the little line.
Oh yeah, it's kind of fun to watch how you guys just like try to.
Oh yeah, it's easy for me. I've got an ARC tablet hooked up to my computer.
Oh man.
Oh, nice.
Oh, then you got no excuses for these arrows right here.
I'll blame the program. Because yeah, where's the freehand? Yeah, freehand. Hello, there we go. Undo. Okay, that's good. Okay, what's our red box?
Consolidator screen. I'm trying how to figure out how to use this interface though.
No problems. Slight learning curve there. So with the consolidator screen, who sees it? Is it something the customer sees? Like, is it something pinned to the wall that says order number 302 is in progress or is ready? Or
That's what I was thinking. Yeah, it says order 1, order 2, order 3, and then he can just read off what is on each order, so make sure that the customer gets everything that they need to.
I guess if we have a consolidator screen where the person is calling out when the orders are ready, we don't really need another customer-facing kiosk telling them that the order is ready. That'd just be kind of
Yeah,
redundant.
That's true.
Or maybe like a number. I guess that's that we're getting outside the scope of the project here.
Well, if
I was
there's
just thinking of like
consolidation,
the number, like the telling number, where it just kind of
Right.
shows, oh, number 267 is ready, or whatever.
well,
Mhm.
if there's a consolidator screen, doesn't the consolidator usually have to like have some sort of list that checks and make sure everything's there? Such as if you order a burger, a drink, and a side, then the consolidator needs to be like, okay, this is my burger, drink, and side.
Well, I think
Well,
that's
it's
just whoever's at these stations will create that item that shows up
Okay.
on their screen, and then this person that's at this area will just say, okay, yeah, that's my drink, that's my side, that's my entree. Put it all in the same plate area tray, and then send it out to the customers.
Okay. So this is what the consolidator sees. This is not what the customer sees.
Well, I think it'd be simple enough to be like transfer this to like a customer
Okay.
screen that says like, oh, order 345 in progress, and then once the consolidator finishes this order, it says, okay, order 345 done.
But what will that look like? I mean, I understand what it looks like in the real world, but for our little simulation, all this is kiosks. And I'm trying to work out, does the consolidator really add value to this project? Because we're going to have like typical restaurant, let's say 3 kiosks. Oh, hello, number 3. That was terrible. You got a mass of people, and they congregate into lines. And then after they order, they come back into a mass of people, and then here's the counter. And do they have a nice display screen that faces out to the customers so they know when order order 9, hello, I'm trying to write here, thank you computer, order 9 is ready, order 10 is ready, or
Yeah.
how does, go ahead.
Either that, or this person can just say, Kim, your order is ready, and then that alleviates the oops need for
Yeah, I guess it really depends on the style. Whether you want, someone shouting out someone's name, or whether you just want the screen to do the shouting for you, basically.
I'm gonna recommend number, and if we want to do name, add name after number.
Yeah.
Because go into a restaurant and yell Fred, Dan, or Jaden, and half the restaurant goes, huh? So
Yeah, I think it would definitely be simpler and just probably more efficient if we had it's a worker facing terminal where it shows the order for the having the consolidator looking at the screen that shows the order, and then as it's finished, the consolidator actually passes out the orders and shouts, hey, order 345 is done, order 356 is done, order 369 is done, so on and so forth, and then just passing them out like
Five Guys does it.
yeah, Five Guys, McDonald's, Burger King.
Yeah, perfectly fine with that. I think there's nothing wrong with that. If it ain't broke, don't fix it, right?
Pretty much, yeah.
Right. Easier to prove if you're that specific number because you get a receipt with the number usually printed bold at the top of it.
Yep. Show the receipt.
Oh, speaking of, do we want to have a VM that simulates the receipt?
it's a good idea, but at this point, like,
Is
we
that
want to
is that
do
like
we want to
within the scope of this project? Like, is it something that the professor would be looking for, or would this be a potential,
I think
add-on?
yeah, bonus if we have time.
I think it would be an add-on, but it also kind of relays on a big important part would be when we have the shopping cart, the payment. I don't think we've really discussed.
Well, the way
payment.
we do the code for the order, we can just like have it in such a way that, it'd be easy enough to create a receipt from those items with the total printed.
Yeah, because if I load all the items in the shopping cart, they like in the background they'd be loaded in a JavaScript array, which would be very simple to list the item, list the price, list the item, list the price, list the subtotal, tax, and then grand total at the bottom. And then we could just sort of say that the receipt printed. We could just display it on the screen to sort of simulate that.
To go even farther, we could also create like a server that stores the orders that have been placed with because that way it can track how much money has been made and stuff.
So like analytics.
Yeah, just like, oh, what how many burgers were sold, at this date or whatever. But because that's the way that systems actually, have is in the main office they can see, okay, from 10 to 12, we made this much money in sales.
Yeah. The management kind of operational stuff where they can kind of look at all the stats
Or
and whatnot.
just storing, each order in a file of sorts.
Yeah. Go ahead
Would
and
that become more complex because that might involve a database?
Yeah.
Mhm.
I
I'm
would end
gonna
up.
go ahead and share my screen
Oh,
again.
okay. We
Sorry.
didn't lose our whiteboard, did we?
No, it should still be there.
Okay, good.
So this right
Oh,
here is just a very simple network diagram. We would have the order kiosk where the customer would actually place their order, and it would get sent to the central server. This server right here will be responsible for actually transmitting the individual parts of the order to the various terminals and then back to the order completion kiosk, or I guess in the example that we were drawing, it would be the consolidation kiosk.
Mhm.
So this central server could also be responsible for logging the various
Ooh,
orders,
yeah. That
Yeah.
would
and
that'd
that
be-
could be as simple as just writing a string of JSON into a text file, or even just a simple just a simple line of text in a text file. It doesn't have to be anything overly complicated.
Mhm. Or even just running total of money made.
Yeah, that too.
yeah, that
So
could be
since
good.
we have this central server, it could be responsible for that.
okay. Okay, I'm going to take a screenshot of what we have so far for this whiteboard. Okay.
So for right now, what is everybody gonna work on until next week?
Well, it's not until next week. It's until Friday. We have to
Oh
have
yeah,
something put together.
right.
So I'd be happy to write, put together a document, etc., etc.
I
About
think I'm going to
plans.
take this right here and probably do a code snippet of it and work in Electron just so maybe on Friday we could submit a screenshot or the actual code into the professor as like this is our base. This is what we know we kind of want to start working from, if that's okay.
Like a draft of the code of for the worker kiosk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for this design document, I'm looking at the assignment here on the page. It seems like he provides us like a template. It says that he strongly suggests that we use this template, so I think it just makes things easy for us.
Okay.
Where's that?
Where's the template?
If you go to the actual assignment page, with the detailed design document and structure meeting number 1, yeah,
I
he
was
has a
at the
hyperlink
modules
there,
page.
and then it provides us with the entire like actual Word document. So all you would really have to do is just kind of copy paste our information
Oh,
in there
nice.
and just change anything as needed.
Or the detailed design document, or am I in the right place?
No, yeah, that's the right one.
Yeah, it's a big old URL that says I've uploaded
Yeah,
the
the
work document.
IEEE.
Yeah.
Yep.
Recent places. Let me take a look at that.
Wow, he wasn't kidding when he said detailed.
Yeah, this is a big, it's a big
Yeah.
document.
Wow.
But I don't.
No, I can write this stuff easy. This is nothing.
Where is
Yeah,
this? I'm
this is
still looking for it.
If you go to
if you go to
assignments, sorry. If you go to assignments, it'll be the one titled Detailed Design Document / Instructor Meeting #1.
Thank you.
or we can just do that should work.
It does say it needs to be at least 10 pages, and he already gives us 8 of them. I guess it's not so bad.
I think as we
And
start
once you
filling
fill
out
it
the
in,
different
yeah.
sections, yeah, it should go easily into 10.
Definitely.
I filled one of these out before.
Oh, you have?
Yeah.
Nice.
There's like a mock-up project from another class. Like I think this is a common format.
Well, it's IEEE. It's a standard.
Yeah.
This is what I look at a lot for my internship, or just going through and making sure these are in the standard. And so this is fun.
Alright. As far as what I'll be working on until Friday, I'll be working on getting these actual like active features programmed with my like dummy templates, so that when we get like a final design going, when the UI is actually programmed in, I can sort of just drag and drop the code, adjust it if need be, and then just have everything working.
What do you mean by everything working? As in have a functional point of sale system?
Functional to the extent that I'll have the kiosk functional. Once the kiosk is getting done, once the kiosk is done getting programmed, we would need to have the terminals programmed as well, which I'll have to wait on the overall design of that one for me to really have a good idea of how I want to do it. And then as soon as I get the first terminal programmed, because like I said, the individual worker terminals, so like the entree kiosk, the sides and desserts, and the what was the last one? The drinks terminals. Those would be basically the same exact thing, so we wouldn't need to change anything. As soon as I get those programmed, Mark would have to come in and sort out the networking between them.
Mhm.
And then once that's done, then I can continue to focus on, I think, what comes after that? It was the consolidation kiosk.
Okay.
And I guess regarding me, I'll just have the, I guess for lack of a better term, we'll just use the phrase we use, the storyboard for the design of this POS system.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Do we
and,
need mockups in our document? Oh yeah, we do need screen mockups.
So then, I guess, in regards to like the, I guess the creative, the design portion of this, I'm not really married to any kind of design for this, so I'm welcome to change anything. Like, if we go for one look and then I guess somewhere during the semester you guys want to change the look, I think that'll be fine.
All right.
Yeah, start with something functional, but we can't forget that he wants us to put in about, what did he say, like 150 hours per person into this. So we have a lot of room for growth here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and Jacqueline, what parts are you working on?
For this Friday, I was going to start working on drafting the code for the HTML page, or this mock-up right here is what we have, and probably start diving a little bit into working on the terminal side for the drink side, entree and dessert. And Joshua, if we can get together sometime this week, and so you can just kind of, or you can kind of email me like what you're working on and what you have idea-wise and planning-wise, I'll start kind of building the code a little bit, like the skeleton of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. And this is all due Friday, so what I'll need from everybody is just keep me updated on every little detail. I don't care how, if you email me summaries of what you've worked on, or if you just uh, dump the actual files, email me what you've got. However you want to do it. We should probably have um, one more meeting, maybe Thursday. But I want to be sure I have everything straight when I write this document. And also pretty pictures and diagrams and things.
Mm-hmm. As far as the updates are concerned, Discord would probably be the best place for that. You know, with its like instant messaging nature, it'd be a great place to, you know, just type little tidbits, you know, as far as like what we accomplished, so that we just have like a running total of what we've done so far.
That works. Do we have a specific Discord board or?
Yes.
Okay.
The
I-
server. I got you the link 1 second.
Okay. Cool. Thank you. Discord.
So I don't know if you have the app already or downloaded the software on your computer,
I don't know if
but
you
you
ever
can
used
get it on
Slack.
computer or phone.
Basically,
Cool.
just like Slack, if you've ever used it.
I've actually used this before. It's just been a while. Okay, I'm getting on. Oh my goodness.
How do I change my screen name?
If you just click on your name on the right side, it'll say change nickname.
Aha. I know. I think I just saw you change yours.
Yeah, I don't want any more confusion, regarding who the heck that is. So
Right.
Wow, I just noticed the Discord server name Avengers Assemble a POS. That's great.
Okay. All right, I'm on the Discord. So what do we have? Library.
Diana, quick question. You're the one that started the recording, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so maybe in a couple hours, maybe even tomorrow, you'll get a notification that the recording is ready. Could
Perfect.
you let me know so that I can actually go through and download it, export it, and then upload it to YouTube? Just so we have
Yes.
it like archived, because it'll disappear after 14 days, I think it is.
Yeah, we don't want that. Yep, that'll be fine.
All right, thank you.
Sure thing. Okay. I'll write that down. Okay. All right, cool. Yep, I got the Discord. All right. That'll be perfect. Okay. Let me run through. What does this document have? IEEE requirements, purpose, yeah, intended audience, easy. If any of you are drawing inspiration from other sources, keep note of that because I will need to cite those in the document.
Could you repeat that? I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
For the
IEEE document.
oh yeah, for the document for if you guys are drawing inspiration from other sources, be sure to
Oh,
take
yeah.
note of those, pass them on to me because I'll need to reference those.
Got it.
System features, okay. All right, just be prepared when we do have the meeting with the professor. He will probably push us to make it more complex.
I
So
believe it.
from the sound of things, I don't think that'll be a problem. Sounds like everybody's got a pretty good handle on the basic functionality, so that's great. I'm not sure where he will push us for complexity, but wouldn't be surprised if instead of what we were talking about, just make an easy dump to a text file, if he says, no, make that go into a database.
Hmm. Yeah, that or like having the receipt printer be a thing.
Yeah, and the receipt printer, it sounds complex. It really isn't. It's all it is would be just a dumb kiosk that displays information already gathered when the customer input their information and placed the order. It's just a different design. But
And actually, looking at Node.js documentation, they actually have a MySQL module in there. So creating a database from this would be as simple as just writing a SQL query.
Oh,
Mhm.
hey.
there we go.
But also,
That's
maybe
awesome.
when we talked about some of the buffers and what we might do if we had extra time, maybe having some of those pocketed just in case that we can bring out, like, no, we can also add this feature to it, or we can also do this feature if you need more.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
So then I
true.
guess maybe we could I guess maybe not right away, but just get a list of the buffers that we've kind of spitballed here and maybe prioritize them as a list so that if the professor does want us to kind of make things a bit more complex, we can kind of just go off of that list and just add those as features.
Hmm.
Well, the priority is functionality. The thing's gotta have the functionality there. It's gotta work. We gotta be able to plug in an order, process the order, and return the order to the customer. Then after that, it's just a matter of figuring out what the professor wants and going from there. But I think the functionality should be able to get down.
Now, when do we want to schedule the meeting with the professor? We could do it like next, because I think we just have to have it scheduled by the due date.
Yeah.
Because I know like the best day for all of us to be available is Tuesday evenings. I don't know. I don't remember if Thursday was an open day or not.
We could have him on I guess I don't know if it's next Thursday or next Tuesday would be good for everybody. Just like in place of this session, have him on with us.
Hmm.
Does he have evening availability?
Does he have a calendar that says his availability somewhere? Like a scheduling system? Does this professor have that?
We'll probably just have to get with him and see what he says. I mean, it's,
Yeah.
I don't he might just pop into what we have here for 30 minutes or so to talk about what we have and then leave and we can finish our discussion about what to move forward with.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm looking at the syllabus here, and it says that for office hours, it's just by appointment. So he doesn't really even have a time that he kind of sets for this. So
Don't be surprised if it's just business hours.
That's true.
But let's see. And Monday is Memorial Day, so definitely nothing scheduled there.
Ah,
Other than that, I'm free anytime next week.
Thursday, I'm free from 2 to like 4 or 5.
And Thursdays you're only available?
Oh, and then pretty much afternoons every other day. But he mentioned Thursday, and so 2 to 5 Thursday, and then afternoons all days.
Okay.
I'd say based on everyone else's availability, it probably would be best to schedule it sometime next Tuesday. I know Josh is available Tuesdays and Thursdays. Jacqueline also Tuesdays and Thursdays. Me, I'm available Thursdays after 4 or 6. It varies, but Tuesdays I'm off. So yeah, it sounds like Tuesdays are going to be our best bet.
I say we schedule with the professor sooner rather than later before his schedule starts to fill up.
Definitely.
Yeah, so one of us can, like, if we want, go ahead and send him an email and ask him about Tuesday.
I don't mind
Or-
emailing him.
All
If
right.
anybody else wants to.
I guess you should,
No?
since we've deemed you the project manager, right?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
shall email our professor. Okay, aim for Tuesday in the late afternoon. Okay. So we want to say Tuesday between what times?
I guess it just depends on when everyone else is available because I'm available all day Tuesday.
Same.
Okay.
1 second. I know I do work, but I should be off by 2.
Okay.
If we could do 2 and beyond, mid-afternoon to
So,
late evenings, that
Maybe
would
like
be perfect.
3:30.
so 3.
Yeah.
Give everyone
3:30 will
some
do.
buffer room, some wiggle room.
Tuesday at or after 3 p.m. Okay. Tuesday at or after 3 p.m. All right. Okay, given it is Tuesday today, whew, this is fun on a summer schedule. The soonest things can start trickling either to Discord, well, obviously to Discord because that's where we're going to put everything, the better, because I can definitely write papers in a hurry, but I'd rather try to get a start on it sooner.
Mm-hmm.
But if you wait until last minute, it only takes you a minute.
Exactly.
How I've got this
You know,
far.
I
man.
have written many page papers in last minute, and I could do it. I could get a good grade, but oh my gosh, I'm a zombie for the next 5 days.
Yeah,
Isn't that
it's
part of the
stressful.
college
It's hard.
experience?
We've all
You
been
at
there.
least need one paper
Yeah.
last minute.
What's that?
Isn't that part of the college experience? Do one paper last minute.
Well, if that's the case, then I deserve my PhD in last minute thing.
Oh, me
Yeah,
too.
just use up like 2 days worth of brain power on those last hours.
Oh yeah, definitely.
That's what my bachelor's is in, last minute.
Yep.
So, Kasim, if you will, post that network draft like image that you showed for a second.
Oh, I actually uploaded it to our Google Drive and I shared it to all of you.
Cool.
Awesome. All of our relevant links here are somewhere. Obviously, I'll put the Baymart and some other interesting links up, but the rest, like the diagrams, they're on Discord or the Google Docs. Point is, anything shared here, there's somewhere safe, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Should
and
be.
they will be on this recording, which I'll upload to YouTube so that we can always have access to it for the rest of the semester.
Excellent. Okay. All right. Anything else? And of course, the answer is yes, but anything else in the next minute or two? Because I'm sure by tomorrow we'll be throwing questions at each other left and right.
No, I think we've made some good conceptual progress.
Yeah, I think we have
Okay.
a solid foundation of what each of us is expected to do.
Okay, let me go back to our assignment. Okay, so need to schedule by the due date. All members' preference. Sorry, compliance. Oh, there's one thing we missed. For e-commerce projects, you should talk about PCI DSS. Does that count for our little point of sale project?
I don't think so, because e-commerce specifically relates to like online sales, as far as I'm aware.
That's what I'm thinking, but what if we're taking credit card payments? And I'm trying to think about this from the professor's standpoint, because I don't want him to throw that curveball out to us and it's just crickets during the meeting.
Oh, you guys have to, set up a Verifone, credit card reader. Code that
Ha.
too.
I've talked to him on the phone. He's a fast-paced, quick thinker. He's had a lot of experience in the industry, so be prepared for barrage. We will get hit with a lot. I'm just not quite sure what.
Sounds like fun.
Yeah. As
It
far as the
is.
e-commerce thing, I'm seeing that e-commerce is often used to refer to the sale of physical products online, but it can also describe any kind of commercial transaction that is facilitated through the internet. So it looks like, as far as the whole PCI DSS thing, I don't think we have to worry about it because none of our stuff is going to be online. It's all going to be local host.
But we're simulating a point of sale system, and if they process credit cards, that does go
We'll have
online.
to ask him if that's how far we need to go. Because I think, our main assignment is to recreate the system. I don't think we have, because there's a separate project for doing the PCI DSS like standards.
We could also have it like in a kind of a back pocket. If he brings up the question, we could also rebut it with, technically this is not an e-commerce website, but we can have a possibility of transactioning credit cards.
Yeah, I mean, like
I
ultimately end goal it would be nice to have, but it's also a lot of added work. So we'll see.
that builds into the regulatory. He did mention that the detailed design document, depending on specific project. For every project, there will be a regulatory section. He's going to hit us with something like this. I mean, yeah, it may sound like it's too complex for what we're doing. It's not.
True. Or like
I mean,
regulatory as in like we'd have to like find a way to maybe in a database or something put calorie information or like sodium and all of that stuff, nutritional information for the items.
our degree is not in health sciences. We're here for IT.
right?
Yeah,
Calories,
he's gonna
what's
hit
the
us with
calorie?
this. I mean, the calorie information, yeah, that's a nicety, and would be a good value add on the customer facing side. But again, that's what 30 minutes worth of work. Boom, done. Again, the way we're talking here, we're going to have most of it done in a week, aside from design and tweaking. And I don't think he's going to want that. That's not going to get us a good grade. We need to think deeper into this. And yeah, if we're doing a kiosk, we can't just cop out and say, well, we'll just do cash only. I think he's going to expect something like PCI DSS or how are we going to secure process payments, something like that. Now, I could very well be thinking too far into this, but it's better to be prepared.
Hmm.
Definitely, we
Yeah.
should
If we
check
go
Well, at
into
least,
into it
you know,
expecting hell and come out of it like, okay, it's unicorns and cotton candy, well, great, perfect. That's a load off our shoulders. But I don't want to go into this with the professor beating us at every corner. What about this? What about this? What about this?
Right.
Yeah, so I guess I'll just I guess it's good for us to just kind of brush up on what PCI DSS and what that stuff is, so that if he does hit us with those questions, we can kind of provide him with satisfying answers.
Hmm.
I was definitely going through and reading my professor, but also some of his comments. And they say a lot of people lose points during these interviews, especially during the last interview. So maybe when we're getting towards the end of it, we definitely need to be able to cover everyone's kind of aspect of the project in case he asks someone who's not doing the networking portion, like, well, how does the networking side work? Or how does this side work?
Yes, that's a big one. We have to be prepared to be able to jump in and know what are the different facets being covered by our teammates. Because this is basically the culmination of everything we've learned in our degrees so far. So we have to show that, yeah, we did get something out of this.
Hmm.
But I think we'll do great, honestly. I've had like past USF alumni, IT alumni talk about some horror stories of terrible groups in these senior project courses, but I'm pretty confident in our ability to achieve a successful grade here.
Oh, I have an idea about the presentation. Instead of going into it like, hello, this is our senior project. It is a point of sale kiosk. This is what it does. What if we go into this as if we're designing an actual product and we're doing a sales pitch?
Brush
I
up
like
on
that
those
idea.
elevator speeches.
Well, if we're doing the video, we dress up, business suits, etc. We take it seriously. We're acting like, this is our million dollar client who we're pitching this to.
that's
Uh,
one of our ideas that we had last discussion was, or I wasn't here, but they had mentioned that it could be scalable in such a way that, you can just remove the items and have it pitched towards, any sort of store.
Oh, like how I was suggesting that we can take it and not necessarily have it for a restaurant, but have it for any other group of people that might need a POS or any other restaurant.
Yeah, because that's what you said. It's like, oh, we'll have the items hard coded now, but like later on be able to just have this system set up in place for any sort of restaurant.
Right, right.
that would be good because that would take into account programming standards and ease of change. Like you could sell this product and their IT department would be able to go through the code and go, oh, this is wonderfully commented. These variables make sense. We know what to change. This is awesome. There's documentation out the wazoo. We got our
Mhm.
money's worth. That's a good one.
Yeah.
So design this not so much as this is fulfilling Acme Burger Company's needs, but this is a kiosk point of sale solution for fast food restaurants and similar markets.
Mm-hmm.
That would be good. That would add extra polish for the presentation.
Right, almost as if we're kind of targeting the whole fast food industry.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Cool.
Well, shoot, our POS systems at work definitely need a facelift because there's some like bugs in them. Like if I press an item, it doesn't have the I can't like take off certain items on it. It's pretty awful.
Maybe we
In
can
that
sell it and make some money.
There you go.
Start
So-
get the patents ready.
So he did say that as a disclaimer, this could be used, some of the projects can be used in research or put on
Resumes and such.
resumes.
Oh yeah, if
or,
I think if we make a Git repo regarding all the files and stuff, we can easily just throw that Git repo up on our resumes and CVs.
Mhm.
Yeah, it sounds like a great idea.
Okay, so we've got that. I'll try to look into some regulatory concerns, things we probably need to be aware of. If we do involve database, then there's an easy one right there, database security. What kind of customer information are we going to hold? How do we handle customer billing information? You know, we don't want to accept credit card numbers, plain text in our system, because I'm sure the professor would love to see that.
Yeah, you'd probably get drilled for that for sure.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So I think we have enough to keep us busy for quite a while. And if we think of any other gotchas to be prepared for, we'll just keep each other updated and throw out ideas. I mean, like I said, it's better to be prepared, especially with this professor. So
Right.
no idea is too far-fetched to think, oh no, he won't bring it up. Yeah, he probably will. So, all right. And oh, the other thing we have to be prepared for his meeting with us, we're going to have to organize a timeline of when we expect things to be ready. So we don't have to have this planned by Friday, but we have to start figuring out what are our target deadlines for each piece of the puzzle. And I don't think that's something we could discuss right now because we just discussed a whole bunch of additional things. So I think right now, best thing is go back, mull on it, and continue to throw out ideas on Discord. But I do think we need one more. We might need one more meeting like this before we get in front of the professor. Either that, or we just have to be on our game in the asynchronous chats.
Mm-hmm.
I think we should be okay, as long as each person has a good idea of what they're meant to be working on, at least for right now, and then in the coming weeks.
right.
Yep. However, the entire team has to be aware of each other's goals, deadlines, et cetera, et cetera. Because if he asks me, okay, when is Mark gonna have his stuff due? I don't
Right.
know.
Are we able to add stuff for the entire? Oh, actually, yeah, we are. Never mind. So, as far as the scheduling stuff is concerned, like when or what is due when, looks like we're going to actually add events for the group in the calendar.
Yes.
That could work then. Yeah. Just get those canvas notifications.
Mm-hmm.
Also, if you want to add that information into the Trello page, would be cool too.
Oh, yeah, true.
And based on what we've talked about today, who's doing what, we can check off a couple things in group management portion.
Hmm.
Cool. I'd have to spend some time poking through this Trello, get up to speed on it, but it looks like a good little tracking tool.
To-do list.
Yeah.
That works. That works.
All right, guys. Well, I hate to dip early, but
Yeah.
I actually have to get out of here.
No, we covered everything so far. I think this was a productive meeting.
Very solid meeting.
Yep. Good job, guys.
All right. Great talking to you. Nice meeting you, Diana, and nice hearing your voice, Mark.
Yeah, sorry.
Nah,
Nice
it's
to meet
okay.
all of you.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. You guys have a good night.
Thanks, you too.
Thank you. You too.
All right, bye.
Bye.
You are currently the only person in this conference. You are currently the only person in this conference.